Welcome to Can, the marketing podcast. I'm Ben from Human Digital, the B2B marketing agency.
And I'm Steph from Q Marketing, making brands shine since ages ago.
This week, we're unpacking the modern MarTech stack and making sense of what actually matters for B2B and B2C marketers.
So, dust off your CRM, drag out your dashboards, untangle your integrations, and get ready to make sense of the modern MarTech stack.
Remember, we release a new episode every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Happy Wednesday, Steph.
Happy Wednesday, Ben. How's it going?
Good. You're back in New Zealand?
Yes, I'm back in New Zealand. I'm back in Auckland. I've just come back from a very cold 2 days in Christchurch.
Was it fresh?
Super fresh. I had my ankles exposed, and so autumn has well and truly arrived in Christchurch. But can I just say, what a pretty city! I'm every time I go to Christchurch, I enjoy it. I think a little bit more than Wellington.
It is. It has a vibe. It's very flat. Has lots of beautiful gardens and trees and grass.
But also all the murals, like all the art is great, you know. Actually, random story. The Airbnb I was staying in. Have you ever been on the restaurant tram in Christchurch?
No.
Okay, so this is it's an icon. So not only can you go through the tram in Christchurch, but you can have dinner on a special tram. It's called the restaurant tram. And my Airbnb was right next to the tram, so it was enclosed in the atrium. It's like a 1990s terrible atrium where the tram lives overnight. So yeah, it was quite noisy.
Very cute. What else have you been up to this week?
Well, you and I seem to live really parallel lives here. So I went and saw Wuthering Heights on last week, and I was not that impressed. So I thought we were going to take tissues, and costuming was amazing. But I didn't feel it. There were lots of women drinking in the movie theater. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't. No, it's on my to watch in an airplane list.
I actually think that's a really good call. And then I watched in advance of the Devil Wears Prada new iteration coming up. My daughter and I watched the old one on the weekend. So
nice.
We haven't watched the new one yet. And then looks like you and I unwittingly were at the same show together on Friday night.
Yes, but I can tell you now, similar to Splore, you put in much more effort with your costume.
I know. Did you not dress up?
No, it was a bit of a last minute let's go kind of thing. So it was very much on the spur.
Actually, we haven't said what it was yet. It was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I forgot to mention. So yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was a West End production. I was very confused by some of the accents. I was sitting right up in the nosebleeds because I had last minute tickets.
Oh, same. That makes me feel better. I just imagined that you were front circle. That is how I pictured you experience that.
That most shows I am in the front 3 rows. I like to be right up there because my eyesight is going, and I like to be right in the action.
You're also quite tall, so it's quite rude. So I feel like you should probably be at the back. Yeah, just have a think about that, would you?
But it was brilliant, very good. And when Rocky jumped out of that box, I was like, wow! And the whole audience gasped, and it was quite something.
It was a fantastic. Anyone who hasn't seen Rocky Horror, highly recommend. Okay, what else have you been up to?
Well, it started on Thursday. I went to the IAB New Zealand talk on marketing and AI, and we had a panelist of academia, tech, and industry, and just to talk about everything marketing and AI.
Did you learn anything new? Because you're already quite up with the play on marketing and AI. So
nothing much new. Nothing new. It is more just what can we do today with what we have. It's all changing quickly. But I've got a write up on LinkedIn. Definitely check that out. Rocky Horror, amazing. I also was invited to the polo, which was fun. I do like watching polo, and I have in the past, but I haven't for a while. But that was a really fun day. That was in the Domain in Auckland, and we watched horses trot around, and people.
Did you?
Okay. Balls.
Here's the thing about the polo. A lot of the women, I'm going to say this, a lot of people there aren't really there for the horses or the game.
Oh, 100%. No, it's it's similar to the races. People are there to have a few drinks and chat. And the Polo is also very much a prime influencer scene. So there's a lot of content being made,
including you.
including
Now,
my own.
I tell you what, so if this is a marketing podcast, can you please name 3 sponsors of the Urban Polo? Go.
Verve Clicquot, Manuka Fuel, Lexus.
Well done. Okay,
Yeah.
you can stay
And they all
on
did.
this
They all
plateau.
did very well. I also wrote an article about how luxury is dead, which ties in nicely with the podcast that we released last week, which you should definitely check out.
We love talking a bit of luxury.
And then I went to see Macbeth, which was a production by the Royal New Zealand Ballet. Very good. It has currently moved to Dunedin, so it's in Dunedin, I think, for the week. It was in Wellington, then it was here in Auckland, now Dunedin, but very good. They have made it a political drama, so it's all about a president and his son, and it has all of the ingredients of a great Macbeth. Amazing production, amazing costumes, amazing set, definitely worth checking out.
Well, that's a lot of the arts, isn't it? And it actually is Auckland Arts Festival at the moment, so I feel like there'll be more of this to come from you.
Definitely more, and finishing it off with the New Zealand Design Week conference. So it has been New Zealand Design Week over the last week and a half, and we finished with the conference, which was at Shed 10 in Auckland. Another sponsor, Lexus, was also there, Lexus being one of their key sponsors, and we had a really good talk about the carbon footprint of digital, which I've also done a write-up on. And yeah, just a brilliant event. This is the first time that they have rebranded from Auckland Design Week to New Zealand Design Week. So the game is being upped every year, and an amazing production. I actually had a comment on one of my LinkedIn articles saying, is there a Sydney Design Week? There was one last year. I haven't heard if there's going to be one this year, but I am a big fan of brand design and marketing. So it definitely ticked a lot of boxes.
Who goes to it, Ben? Is it just the design community?
Mostly design community. So when we talk about design, these designers are from all walks. So you've got physical design and digital design. Design Week typically swings more towards physical design. So you have the makers, and the makers are makers of physical products. So a big real estate representation. So for the built environment, you've got architects, you've got furniture makers, you also have some product makers, you've got innovators that are creating solutions. There was a really cool emergency tent that I think it won an award. It gets deployed and it kind of self-inflates. So someone that's stuck on the side of a mountain can have some shelter while they're being rescued.
Cool.
And then it also has digital designers, so UX type experience as well, apps. So yeah, big focus on physical products mostly, but
nice.
There is that crossover. And what's happening in the news?
Okay, so my only piece of news this week, which I almost missed actually, but I'm bringing it to the forefront. So the Access Awards are imminent. Did you have that on your radar?
No, tell us about the Access Awards.
Yeah, so the Access Awards celebrate, it's another industry awards for great campaigns in the marketing world. And the nominations, as all things in award season, the nominations were done last year. The finalists have been announced. The actual Access Awards ceremony is taking place week after next. So I think it's the 24th of March. And the reason I'm really excited about it is I've got 4 Hell Pizza, the campaign that I worked on last year, is up for 4 awards. Through through the agency Yarn. And so I got very excited and thought that I was going to be swanning off to the awards, but unfortunately I won't be in the country. But it's a pretty prestigious awards awards ceremony, and so I'm really excited. I think Hell Pizza's got a pretty good shot. I'm just going to call it. We'll see if the universe proves me right or wrong. But yeah, we're entering award season. It's exciting times, and my inbox is full of Cannes stuff as well.
Yeah, mine too. I've got people saying, "Come visit."
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about in your news? What have you got?
Well, I had an email in my inbox from IAB, because I just went to one of their conferences, saying that New Zealand digital advertising revenue reached almost $3 billion, which is up 12% year on year.
Wow.
Video apparently was the standout performer of 2025, growing 27% to 653 million and accounting for 22% of digital advertising revenue. Search still held its position as a dominant format, 1.44 billion, which is a 12% growth year on year.
Yeah.
And classifieds and directories grew 7%. How does this compare to Australia, I hear you ask? So apparently digital spend in Australia was $18.4 billion for the 2025 calendar year. So that's according to the latest AIB Australia revenue report, which was prepared by PwC.
Nice.
So lots of digital money floating around to be spent and won.
Lots of digi monies. Right. And
Indeed.
so what is today's episode going to take it? What journey are we going to go on today with our episode?
Today, we are talking about a very popular topic, which is MarTech for short, or marketing technology for long, and we want to cover the modern tech stack for both B2B and B2C.
Yeah.
So, I mean, MarTech is changing. I mean, it's changing for a number of reasons. A lot of it is AI, and AI is getting baked into everything that we touch on a daily basis. But the principles are still the same, and core marketing stack is
Now,
an essential part of every business.
just very quickly to introduce the topic, there are people who say they work in MarTech. And then there is the MarTech stack. So let's just kind of draw that definition, kind of take people on the journey, because there might be some people who don't really understand kind of what goes into it. So working in MarTech is a completely different thing. That is when you are working in marketing in a technology-based business, correct?
Yes. I mean, it depends on the definition. Marketing technology is essentially platforms, tools, and systems used to attract, convert, and engage and retain customers. So that is what MarTech is. If someone says they work in MarTech, it typically means that they're employed by a marketing technology company, and they are maybe marketing that MarTech, which is
a different thing altogether. And fair to say, when we talk, because I think there might be some people sitting here going, "Oh, I don't really have any MarTech. I just do my job." I think we're here to kind of bust that myth, right? Because actually, every single one of us, by virtue of, and actually probably a really nice lineage line here from all the digital spend that's going on in the market, we're all sitting on a degree of MarTech, and the question is, how well are we using it and how well do we understand it?
Yes, and are we using the right MarTech, and is it all integrated with each other as well?
Yes.
Essentially, so let's talk about what a MarTech stack is. So a marketing technology stack is a group of technologies that your organization have chosen to work together to achieve your marketing goals. So for some businesses, the MarTech stack is maybe one platform. So some startups will try and use HubSpot, for example, for everything. And HubSpot does have a number of MarTech elements inside it. But when someone says, what is your MarTech stack? They mean, what is the technologies that you're using to execute your marketing in your organization? And
some of that will be first party data, right? So some of that will be coming, your customer data will be, and how you're viewing that customer data. It feels like this is a term that's probably more native in the B2B world because of the way that the sales cycle tends to run in B2B.
I don't think so, but it's definitely B2C. It's just as relevant for B2C as well. And so the MarTech is not the data, but it is the tools that are managing that data. Let's talk about maybe the key parts of the MarTech stack. So the first theme of your MarTech is customer and audience data. That is essentially the system that's housing that data. So this is really the epicenter of your system if it's set up properly. You we talk about businesses being customer centric,
Mm.
this is your customer centric view of your customer, whether that's a consumer in B2C or whether that's your buying
Client
business.
list and
Yeah,
yeah.
in B2B. So in B2B, this is typically centered around your CRM or
Mhm.
customer relationship management system. And this is focused on contacts, which are people, accounts, which is the companies, pipeline stages, so where they are in your deal stage, and what we call buying committees. So everyone that is involved in buying your B2B services. And this is often closely tied to sales visibility and lead management. And the data is used to support the nurture, sequence, qualification, and the account-based marketing.
Yeah.
So how does this look on a B2C side?
Yeah, and I think FMCG is really interestingly, you're quite far removed from your consumer in FMCG. So you likely will not have a CRM system at all if you're working in FMCG. If you're
If you're
if
not e-commerce, like if
if you're
you're
not e-com,
e-commerce,
yeah,
yeah. So e-com, you've got a customer data platform, you've got your e-commerce data. Typically, it's Shopify these days,
yeah.
but there are the apps like Klaviyo and things that get baked into your MarTech stack. And if you're FMCG, let's say you're on the brand side, so say you're Coca-Cola, you probably don't have much customer data, but I can
No,
tell
you
you
don't.
that your retail channels do. So if we talk about Woolies and Countdown, loyalty programs, they
Yeah.
have, all of the data on you, what you're buying, which aisles you're going down, who your mother is, what your baby eats, all of those things
What
are
other brands
captured
you're
in that
buying?
program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And because you're absolutely right. Because I think there is a distinction even within B2C, it becomes quite fragmented. So if you're ecom, you're in a good spot because you're very close to your customer and you can get all those insights and you can use Google Analytics and you've got first party data. You definitely often do not have that in FMCG. So I did it, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, would you count Nielsen data, IRI, etc., as your tech stack? I
No,
think the
but
answer
it's an
there is you
input.
no, you
Yeah,
don't. But it's how you can migrate all of those different parts of you. So it's a key part of decision making. But actually, what you might do if you're an FMCG is you might then develop other insights you might go and speak to actual consumers as part of like a UNA study and part of research. And it's how you take all of that information, you amalgamate it all together along with your social listening tools, your media performance data, and then that becomes your tech stack in terms of amalgamating all of that to make decisions.
exactly. And so your tech stack might include a Power BI dashboard that
Mm,
visualizes that, or Looker Studio that brings that sales together with the CRM data.
yep.
And so the key difference between B2B and B2C, so B2B data is generally geared towards relationship management and deal progression, while B2C data is much more focused on behavior, transactions, and real-time engagement.
Although,
Uh,
actually, so the other thing too, sometimes in FMCG, there's a lag. So your pipeline's longer in B2B, but in FMCG, you'll often get past data and you'll be making decisions based on a 4-week rolling average or a 3-month rolling average. And so it can be harder to pivot and move things because you're further removed from the information that you've got. But for example, if I think about Hell Pizza, much closer to it because you're literally tracking sales on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. So you've got a one source of truth when you're ecom much faster than I think you do in the FMCG space.
So then the next theme of your MarTech stack is built around customer relationship management and lifestyle marketing. And so this part of the stack really helps businesses manage their communication over time. So in B2B, what this looks like is your CRM again. And now we're introducing marketing automation. And so marketing
Mm,
automation is typically a key part of your MarTech stack. And this is about scaling the job of, in B2B, the salesperson, and automating a lot of that outreach. So this things like lead nurturing. So when a lead comes in, how do you keep that lead engaged? Scoring them, so deciding whether they are cold, warm, hot, kind of ready to buy, how far down the funnel they are, email workflows and lifecycle progression. And it's heavily focused on moving prospects through a buying journey
your
and
funnel.
keeping them engaged.
And
Yeah.
now, this
And
is a really
this this really is, it's leading to that strong alignment between marketing and sales.
I'm living this right now. I am literally living this CRM journey, and I'm working with a business where HubSpot is because the other thing too, thinking about your MarTech stack, you almost need one source of truth, and often your CRM system, if that's where your customers are sitting, becomes that one source of truth. And I'm very much seeing that this strong alignment between marketing and sales. Really, it's like if the data that you've input right at the beginning of your CRM system is incorrect or half complete, then it just becomes so much harder to see where you are in that. And so I think yes, the tools, so you get whatever your CRM system might be, but it's how well is it set up.
Set up, yeah, and how well is your team using it and integrating it? And some of the best CRMs now, essentially, you plug them into everything that you use, and they are sucking data from everywhere, from your emails, from your phone calls. That modern tech stack is using AI to kind of, suck all the juicy bits out and make sure that they're in that. So, how does that differ from B2 to B2C? Lifecycle platforms in B2C are often more focused on customer engagement rather than lead management, because you're really just driving someone to a sale, but also looking at their purchasing behavior over time. So if you're running e-com, this includes email, SMS, push notifications, retention journeys. It's like, here's a discount voucher. We've got a sale on. You bought this product. Have you thought about this product? Again, a lot easier to do in e-com, but also relevant when you are Coles or Woolies or Bunnings, where you are marketing directly to these people.
And part of the hard thing too, often in B2C, is you can track a lead more easily in B2B. Sometimes it can be really hard to track where leads come from in B2C. So, because you lose the purchase occasionally. So if you've pushed someone to your website, but they're not buying on your website, you can actually lose visibility. So you need to find other ways to track sales. So it's like, pixels and Facebook, or last visit attribution. So it's relying on third party things, like metadata and Google to kind of work out where do we think that sale came from.
Yeah, exactly. And then in terms of that, pushing people through the life cycle, the emphasis is really on driving purchase frequency and customer lifetime value. And that frequency is a lot of subscriptions. And I feel like everyone is trying to subscriptionize their effing service. It started with Netflix, and now all of the onlines are doing it. But now also all of your physical products are also being subscriptionized. So,
and this actually is a really interesting point, because I'm working in the US market at the moment, and they are so used to having everything on subscription and everything bought via Amazon.
Toilet paper, toothpaste, everything.
And it's really highlighted, because this is a new area of expertise for me. And we don't shop that way. New Zealanders shop in quite a different...
I think we do. I mean, I just don't think retailers have caught on to it.
Or the platforms aren't ready for it yet, or we don't have to scale to get the efficiencies with the free delivery, for example, because that can also hamper us. Like, we charge for delivery a lot here.
Yeah, that's true. So in terms of the key differences, so B2B lifecycle marketing is about educating and converting multiple stakeholders over time, where B2C is lifecycle marketing, often about driving action quickly, like getting them to checkout and increasing retention. And it's about understanding what's working and driving sales, and finding out how to adjust your marketing spend accordingly.
Yeah. So what else do we have in our tech stack there, Ben?
Next up in the tech stack is your digital experience, specifically your website, or CMS, which stands for Content Management System. Often confused for CRM because it starts with a C and is 3 letters. But yes, this is your content management system. And this is where customers and prospects interact with your brand directly. And this is we call this one of your owned assets within marketing.
Although the big chat at the moment, and how many rooms have you sat in where the question has been asked, will we even need websites in the future?
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we need a place to put shit, and that place might be the website, and maybe it gets sucked up by an AI. Websites are here for
I
at
mean,
least the medium
yeah.
term.
Yeah, let's just
Yeah,
embrace the website for now. And let's just say, like you say, it's an owned asset. It is your chance to tell the world who you are, what you do, what you stand for, and what services or products a person can buy from you.
exactly. And so in B2B, the website is often a research and credibility tool. So this is where your potential buyers come in to check you out, check out your creds. You've got content hubs, you've got landing pages, case studies, and conversion points are important throughout that full funnel, and the goal is often lead generation but also education and trust building, so that personalization, so personalizing for the people that are coming to your website, might often be based on the industry that they're in, the type of account, e.g. the business they work for, or the buying stage that they're in.
Now,
um,
here's the question: if I'm starting a business and I develop my website, you need to be able to draw information from that website, because at the end of the day, it's not just the technology that it exists. It's actually drawing out the insights and understanding where people will come from. You kind of are in the business of website development. You got any top tips on what makes for a really good website, in terms of how to build it from the ground up and what people should be thinking about?
Yeah, so there are a few pillars. The first pillar is trust. Like in B2B, it's all about, can I as a buyer trust you with my business? So that when they're coming to your website, they need to be able to trust it. And you can build trust through a number of things. Number one, with your brand, making sure that your brand is consistently applied through your website, making sure that you show the people behind your business. So
Mm.
there's one quick way to lose trust is to have a faceless website. It's like, hey, XYZ consulting services, and there's no faces anywhere. It's like, who is this business?
We're just an
Uh,
AI business of
yeah, I
robots.
mean that's really important. There are the table stakes, which is it has to perform, like the pages have to load, the images have to load, it has to be
Mm,
fast. Nowadays, it has to be picked up by
AI.
SEO, so search and AI search. But yeah, you've got those table stakes. But essentially, it's there to build trust, and it's less so on the platform that you choose, but the content that you put on it and how you present it.
I'm going to give you another point of view. So if we think about the role of a website in B2C, and again, there's a really clear distinction between if you are so I'm going to call this D2C. So
E-com or
yeah,
if you're e-com or not.
if you're direct to consumer, via
Mm.
the interweb, then you absolutely will have a website and it will be much the same. So if you think about QSR is a great example, it's a Hut, it's
Mm.
a McDonald's. Make it really easy for me to get to my product. Make it easy for me
Mhm.
to find the thing that I need to buy. Push me in the direction to sell something. Interestingly, if you're an FMCG, your website presence is often housed on other people's websites. So
Mm.
actually, the data that you'll be drawing down and what you'll be investing in is putting your product front and center on things like your Woolworth site, your Pack and
Mhm.
Save site, so that you are pushed to the top when being chosen for milk or for bread, for example. So
Yeah, but
you,
there's still that rigor that needs to be done to make sure that everything is correct. And I think that
yeah.
the similar thing for both B2B and B2C, you want people to trust you. So if they're visiting your site, they're trusting you to actually deliver that product and deliver a quality product.
Well, your
Um,
imagery needs to reflect what you're selling, right? But when some of the brands I've worked for, we didn't have a website. There's
mm,
no need to have a website because no one cared enough about the I don't know, the brand of, I don't
whatever.
know, whatever milk.
Mm. But the
Yeah,
model has changed. Like that previously, I think that would have been fine because you were really leaning on your distributor to do that. So you're leaning on your Woolies and your Coles. They would do the marketing, they would do the website.
mm,
You would just have to provide some pretty pictures and copy and actually supply the product and make sure it was on the shelf.
yeah.
So that and that still holds true for a lot of brands. There's a lot of brands that don't do direct, but there are a lot of brands that do, and that there are a lot of brands now that do both.
Yeah,
That will
absolutely.
sell through a supermarket and through a direct channel. So, that website or app in B2C is really tied to the point of transaction. So making it easier to purchase, payment options, making it easy to get it shipped, and product discovery, user experience, merchandising, checkout, they all matter a lot because if
Um,
someone's at your site, they're ready to buy usually.
One of the things that actually has come up is really interesting in the world of QSR, so quick service restaurants. When you're thinking about your tech stack, often the platforms upon which your app have been developed are quite different to the platform that your web has been developed on. And
Mm.
so interestingly, and this comes down to if you're literally buying takeaways, so there's 3 different ways you can buy takeaways on so you think about McDonald's on the owned app, on the
Mhm.
web, on a website, and also through third-party
Like
aggregators. So
Uber
that's
Eats.
like an Uber.
Mm. Mhm.
And so you've got to treat your brand in a different way. And so there's been a lot of discussion with some of the work that I've done around how much because it takes a lot of work and effort to continually maintain your app. So building an
Mhm.
app is slightly more complicated and a different UX than it is to do a website. So those
100%.
those are things, and one of the decision-making processes that you go through is where do we think consumers are going to buy and what will we invest in?
Mm.
And what's the conversion rate? Because you can, you can push notifications out via an app, but also us as humans, sometimes we don't want a million apps on our home.
No, this is true.
It's
And
not,
it's crazy how many brands I see saying, oh, it's not, I don't see it so much anymore, but it's like, oh, we need to build an app. And it's like,
do
what
you?
is the problem
Because,
that you're
yeah,
trying to solve with the app?
yeah,
And typically the rule of thumb is if you're going to use something daily or maybe weekly, then an app, yes. But if you use a product or a service, every 6 months,
oh,
don't build an app. It's not
no,
worth it. And the way that now most people are connected to the internet, invest in having a mobile optimized website experience.
exactly.
That is all you need.
Yeah. And I think that actually it's a really good point. If we are thinking about what you're going to invest in as a marketer in terms of your technology, think
Mm,
about the ongoing maintenance costs of it, because a lot of
hmm.
these things are not just a one and done. So it's
No.
things like how many seat licenses do you need for your CRM? What do you have in-house capability for development? Do you how strong is your IT team? All of those things need to be considered when you're signing up to something. And because the last thing you want to do is sign up to HubSpot, realize that that's not what you need, and then migrate over to Klaviyo. That's
Yeah.
just
And then you've
horrific.
got, normally a year lock-in or whatever you've done. So the next theme in your MarTech stack is content and campaign execution, very close to both of Steph and I's hearts. So
Yes.
every stack needs a way to create, manage, and distribute content and campaigns. Sometimes this is all done manually and you kind of just, do spreadsheets and whatnot. But in terms of B2B, the content is typically more educational and trust building. You've got a number of different assets, including white papers, webinars, case studies, long form articles, and sales assets. And campaigns often involve multiple touch points across a longer period of time, and you need to monitor all of those. And then you've got asset management and brand consistency, super important, especially
Mm,
across sales and marketing teams. Um, if we flip over to B2C, content is often geared towards more demand generation. You still have your story and
mm,
brand building, but you've got product storytelling, you've got seasonal campaigns, and then you've got retention as well.
yeah.
Creative production is normally faster and also higher volume. So more of everything.
You're
And
less,
especially
yeah. You're less story. You probably spend less time in your storytelling phase and more in your product and retail. If you literally you're trying to sell some things and get it out the door a little bit faster than you are in B2B.
Indeed. So paid media, social content, dynamic creative, and promotional assets play a bigger role. This is typically, though, you will also have a brand campaign ongoing as well to kind of, you know,
Hopefully, if you're doing
get
a
that
good
out if
job.
you're doing it right. And this is your product layer. And then campaigns are often more immediate and more frequent with more variety. So the key difference, B2B content tends to go deeper and longer, and B2C is often faster and it scales wider as well. Let's move on to the buy, which is commerce, conversion, and revenue. And so this is where the stack is really supporting your commercial outcomes. So in B2B, this is tied to your pipeline. So this is opportunity tracking, proposal activity, and account engagement. And the tools may include your CRM, your sales enablement platforms, your ABM, which is account-based management platforms, and intent data tools. And then conversion isn't always a direct online transaction. Often it is
Mm.
turns into a contract and an agreement, and you have to go through a legal process and,
And
all of those things.
here's the thing about the sales conversion. Your sales conversion can often happen, like you say, off platform, but it needs to
Hmm.
be recorded back into your platform.
And normally it does. I mean, most good sales
Yeah.
teams, they want to get that bonus, so they will record that sale. That's, the one thing they usually record. In B2C,
Yeah.
that e-commerce and transaction platforms plays a far bigger role. So e-com, it's normally part of your web experience, but it also includes product catalogs, checkout systems, the data that you were talking about, Steph. So sending your product photography and copy into all of the websites of the channels that you distribute to.
Actually, digital asset management is another thing that's really should be part of anyone's MarTech stack, and where you choose to keep that, because actually you want to make sure that there is one source of truth. And I think this is probably, I think you could almost apply it to B2B as well, but you want to make sure there's one source of truth for your latest logo, your latest product shots, your latest, all of those assets need to be held in a centralized place. And so there are lots of different places that they could sit, but really thinking about what are you doing to maintain version control, which should be part of your MarTech stack.
Definitely. So we've got two final themes to go through. We're getting to the business end now of your MarTech stack. So the next one off is analytics, attribution, and optimization. So this is your data layer. So this layer helps marketers understand what's working and helps them improve performance. So data is definitely coming into this. The measurement often focuses on, for B2B, lead quality, pipeline contribution, influence revenue, and account engagement. And attribution, which is where you tie a marketing activity to the end result. It's more complex because the buying cycles are longer. There's multiple touch points. Also within an account, there's multiple people. So yeah, it is fraught with different people trying to compete for attributing their marketing activity to the sale.
Again, show me somebody who's doing an excellent job, because I'd really like to meet them.
Yes, it is hard. And reporting needs to connect to marketing activity to sales outcomes. So in B2C, measurement is often focusing on acquisition, conversion rate, basket size, repeat purchase, retention, and lifetime value, especially if you're e-com. If you are in traditional retail, it's similar things. It's basket size. It's how often they're at your store, what categories are they purchasing? Can you move people in different aisles? What are they buying with you? What are they buying with your competitors? What else do they need to know?
Average order value, things like foot traffic is really important. So when I worked for fashion brands in retail, understanding foot traffic and making sure that your what's your conversion rate for people walking into store, dwell time, basket size, add-ons, things like that. So when you run e-com, you can really push people to add, like that whole upsell opportunity is key. Retargeting is a big, if you're e-com, go back and retargeting to, how many times have you looked for something online and then 10% discount.
Yeah. Oh,
because
yes,
you've
please.
Abandoned cart. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the final piece in the MarTech puzzle is your integration and orchestration. So this is the glue that holds everything together. So no stack works well if the systems are disconnected. And having them integrated is super important. So for B2B, this typically centers on the CRM, the customer relationship management system. And so you're having that single source of truth for everything to plug back into. So you've got your CRM, marketing automation, sales tools, reporting platforms, and the priority is really that clean handover between marketing and sales. And sales are typically in the CRM as well. And data quality is often one of the biggest challenges, as is attribution that we talked about. For B2C, integration needs to connect a number of things. So e-commerce, where they make the purchase, the customer data, so what are their other purchases, their emails, etc., the media platforms, the service channels, retention systems, and the priority is that seamless customer experience. So if they buy a product and then maybe they need to return it or they have a problem with it, making sure that that's all connected, and that speed and real-time responsiveness really matters.
And and sometimes it's not always that easy actually to match up your real-time sales with your traffic data and, to kind of see, to get that one source of truth. And that is where things like Looker Studio or a Power BI report can pull all of that information together. And the other thing to really think about, and I'm sure, I don't know if this would happen so much in B2B, but there can be a real time lag between the data that you're getting and the actual sales itself. So sometimes you've got to make adjustments for the quality of the data, because you might be looking at data from 3 days ago, and you're matching up the sales cycles can sometimes be difficult. So it's not always that easy to see how you're tracking.
Mm-hmm. So, who owns the marketing stack? I mean, this is a complex question. Uh, it's normally not
Yeah.
marketing. Like, marketing is typically a stakeholder, but oftentimes it's your technology teams that are running these things. And, then finance always has a say because they control what we spend on. But yeah, it is that marketing needs it to do their jobs, but it's often that no one really owns it. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of infighting about who owns it and what the decisions are around it.
And where I see this happening quite often is particularly when you've got a CRM like HubSpot and you're in the B2B space and you've got maybe customer success, sales and marketing, and everyone actually has an equal slice of the pie a little bit because you're all touching the customer at different parts of the journey. So no one's owning it, but if those departments aren't speaking to each other, you'll muddy the waters on the data, or you won't have a true sense of what's actually happening.
Yeah. And I think there always should be one owner because one person does need to be responsible for it. I think in mature marketing organizations, they'll have a marketing operations team or
Mm.
a revenue operations team. This might roll up into the marketing organization, or it might actually roll up into technology or operations. But it's a really important team that can speak both marketing and technology and maybe a little bit of finance.
I'd bloody love a marketing operations person.
Wouldn't that be great? We should
Yeah,
have marketing
that'd be
ops here
great.
at Cant. I think that should maybe be our next
Our
hire.
our tech stack is very small.
It is, but we do have a very optimized tech stack. It
Mm.
is it is a good tech stack.
Small but
So
mighty.
and then obviously AI is entering every layer of the stack. If it moves, AI will touch it.
Mm.
So AI is that capability that is across everything. So this is how it shows up. So AI and data insights, so predictive lead scoring in B2B, churn prediction and next best action in B2C, faster analysis of campaign and customer data, better forecasting and pattern recognition. It is also being used in personalization at scale. And this is big for both B2B and B2C. How do we get better, more relatable content in front of
Well,
buyers?
here's the question though, because I think like all of the platforms that you're potentially using are going to have an AI overlay, but I
Yeah.
think there's a need to stop and pause and go, what are we going to employ and when and how does
Yeah.
this? Because also what I'm saying is there's so much overlap now between you've got Canva and you've got your CRM tools and you've got everything your Google Analytics, everything's got an AI and they're almost bleeding out the edges to do all of the different things. And so I think
Hmm.
there's a real watch out there to go. If it was me, I'd be thinking, what's the core function of this piece of technology or software that you're using? Do
Yeah.
you need to get another piece of software to do the other things that might be slightly better? And how are those two things going to speak to each other to get that one source of truth?
Yep. And having that all in one solution sounds like a great idea. Often it's not. And having
No.
the right tool for the right job is really important. And it's important that they integrate. And there is definitely a nice factor of having something that does a lot of your
Mm.
core processes. But yeah, AI does not fix poor strategy.
Or
Another
poor,
thing,
yeah, if garbage in, garbage out, right?
yeah, messy data still creates bad outcomes. Like you put AI on top of your messy data, yeah, garbage in, garbage out for
Yeah.
sure. That's a slop recipe if I ever saw one.
Mm.
Uh, more tools can create more complexity, but also at the same time, getting the same tool to do stuff that it shouldn't also
Um,
creates
he-
complexity.
Here's another real life example that I've seen happen too. I've seen people going and using external resources like ChatGPT, Claude, etc., to build literally like learning models about a particular company, and then that information is sitting completely outside all of the rest of the data, and so
Mm,
that causes issues because you're building knowledge bases external to the business. How do you bring that back in and make sure and I think there's a real risk there as and I see it sometimes in large corporates as well, where people don't have the permission
mhm,
in their job to use AI, so they're doing it off the back on their own,
mhm.
and then that's just you're fragmenting, all the knowledge base effectively.
And on top of that, you're also potentially putting customer data at risk. You might be
Yeah.
breaking some rules and some regulations. So yeah, definitely be careful. So all of that, what should marketers focus on now? After we've covered all of that stuff, number one, audit the stack against your business needs. Don't find the shiny new tool and try and find a problem for it. Always start with the problem, start with your business needs and decide what do you need in your MarTech stack to solve those needs. Really focus on the core layers before adding the additional tools. So get your foundation right, which is typically your CRM, your customer data, and then build around that. Improve data quality and integration first. Don't think that the MarTech stack is going to solve your problems. You need to get that fixed first. Identify a small number of useful AI use cases and build systems that your team can actually use well. Make sure that they're trained on it and make sure that you invest in your people and avoid buying tools just because they have AI features.
Presumably there are trial periods for all these things too, right? This is the other thing. You can try before you buy.
Yes, but it depends on your organization. If you're working on a corporate, you definitely cannot try before you buy because your IT system will fire your ass. So,
but the IT could sort it out, surely.
Yeah, I think the larger organizations need to have a leadership-led AI strategy. It doesn't make sense for employees to be trying things on their own. But definitely, try it on your own personal computer. I mean, that try before you buy, maybe give it a go.
See if you get hacked.
Yeah, and no customer data, obviously. So, I mean, in the end, the fundamentals of your MarTech stack are still the same, even with AI added. Businesses still need to know their audience. They need to create relevant experiences and drive conversion and measure impact. And what is changing is the speed, intelligence, and adaptability of the tools. So, the future of MarTech isn't B2B versus B2C.
No.
It's really about understanding that the same core building blocks are effective when used properly against both lenses, and using AI to making each part of the stack smarter and more effective is what people are focusing on.
The other thing I'd probably add to that is right-size your tech for the size of your business and your growth plans. So if you have very ambitious growth plans and you're planning to double, triple the size of your business and therefore the number of people in the business using that tech stack, make sure that the solution that you choose can scale with your business. Or if you're planning to stay where you are, that's completely fine, because sometimes you can find yourself paying for a platform that is far too big for your needs, or the flip side of that is that it was niche, it was cheap at the time, and then you've actually got to migrate everything across into something that's more fit for purpose.
Exactly. Do it right the first time, but also fail fast.
Yeah.
Do it all. That has been a rocket of an episode. We covered so much ground on this. Enjoy your week, Steph.
Yeah, you too, Ben. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend. See ya. Can the Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Human Digital and Q Marketing. Our editor is Bruna Barbosa. New episodes drop weekly, so tell your friends and colleagues.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow and subscribe to Canned wherever you listen. Apple, Podcasts, Spotify, and if you want the full visual experience, check us out on YouTube.
See you next week.